Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. I'm Brandon, here with Nick. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad, man. Recovering from the holiday weekend, which I don't know why, but I feel like I got hit by a bus.
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
I am too. I'm
Really
not sick.
Do nothing but sit around and watch football and
Right.
eat food, and somehow you're tired.
I ate so much food this weekend.
I did too. I cooked a lot, didn't eat a lot of it, but cooked a lot of it.
I did the opposite. I didn't cook a lot, but I ate a lot of it.
We even each other out then.
We did. We even each other out for sure. No, I'm beat, man. But how was your Christmas?
It was good, man.
Yeah.
It's, the youngest kid is at that age where it's awesome. Stella's getting a little bit older where it's like
Stella's how old? 12?
she'll be 11.
11? And
Drew
the youngest is 7?
He'll be 7 next
Yeah.
month.
It's like the best year.
Yeah.
Like 7 years old, like because I have my 7-year-old
Yep.
Ethan. Dude, love it. I love watching Christmas through
She's
their
a good
eyes.
sport and plays along though.
That's good.
So that's
Yeah.
good. It makes it more fun.
See, we're the same way. Like Christmas Eve at my dad's house, there's tons of people there, and all the older kids play along really well. Like they do a good job of just keeping it magical for everybody. And yeah, I love it. It was a lot of fun though. Like I said, we have a lot of younger kids in our family, so like a lot of my cousins have young ones, and so when we all get together, there's a bunch of younger kids, and my siblings all have, for the most part, younger kids. My oldest sister, her kids are the oldest ones, and they do really, really good job with the younger ones. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's the best part of the whole thing.
Oh, dude, I love it. I love watching magic through a kid's eyes. It's like the best thing ever.
Yep.
Like that's my favorite part of Christmas. Like I don't care about anything else. I just love watching like the kids' reactions to things.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then like they get the Santa gifts and they're like just like appreciate the fact that they got it and don't like come around to you saying thank you or whatever. Like it's just like I don't know.
Yeah.
It just means more to them.
Correct.
It feels like.
No, it's pretty awesome. My kids got a bunch of hockey stuff this weekend, so we played a lot of hockey this weekend, and now we're back to the rink this week.
That's surprising.
Yeah, weird, right? Got to tape 14 new sticks apparently.
And still no outdoor skating here because it's been 100 degrees for the last.
Dude, it rained all weekend.
I know it's crazy. It's almost 2 inches of rain.
Dude, could you imagine how much snow would have fallen?
Yeah, like out in South Dakota where they got 32 inches in some places.
Is that what they got?
Yeah,
I didn't
like
hear
in
that.
the middle of South Dakota between here and Rapid City. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, like, had it been cold enough,
Been 2 feet of snow.
yeah, we probably would have gotten 2 feet of snow.
Made up for the last month and a half of none
I mean,
in one day.
it would have been an epic Christmas blizzard.
That would have sucked.
It would have. That's how
Golly.
I was actually
Like,
said that to my wife. I'm like, I'm so glad it's hot because I would not want to have spent as much time as I had to in the plow trying to like clean the driveway and do all the stuff
Be able to leave anywhere. Yeah.
just to go somewhere, yeah,
And
or to
hope-
have
and hope you
family
get
over.
there. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, that's the other thing is we had family coming over, so then you would have had to like. You also have to worry about like people not making it, and
Yep.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah. And heck, now we're to January. No snow,
Dude.
no cold. We got like 2 months.
How bomb is that?
That's awesome.
I'm kind of disappointed because normally I go to Arizona for the first 2 weeks of January. So if I had done that trip, dude, I would have been like,
You've been living life.
oh
I
my
mean,
God, man. I would have had 1 month of winter. It would have been the greatest
You
thing
might
ever.
not even seen snow.
I may not have seen.
But
I
hell,
don't think that's true.
it might snow in June now though to pay back for this.
Yeah, it's going to snow all summer long.
I
Exactly.
hope you know how to ice race.
Ice racing.
Not dirt race.
There's a lot of ice racing. I think those guys are getting upset, though, because they haven't been able to start racing yet.
Oh man, that sucks. No ice fishing, no anything. It's just
I saw a picture of an ice house falling through the ice this morning.
really.
Yeah, on the internet. Somebody posted, if this is your ice house, you better come get it because it's going to fall in today.
Well, how would you be dumb enough to leave it out
I
there?
don't
Like,
know.
I wouldn't even be caught. on
I
the ice.
wouldn't go on the ice right now. It's
Even
been
if I was-
raining.
even if I was in northern Minnesota, I wouldn't trust it, man. Like
Crazy.
ice is sketchy to begin with, but then it's been
Oh,
warm, little cold, little rain, little wind, little everything. No way, I'm not going out there.
not me. Yeah. You had a post this last week that you shared on your weather page. It got, what, 1 million?
It's up to like 1.4 million now
1.4 million
views.
views.
Whatever, yeah.
That's crazy. Your impressions.
Yeah, it's
It was all
Pretty
about
cool.
Christmas and having a white Christmas and
just
the patterns.
pictures of a bunch of Christmas trees saying what year we had snow, what year we didn't.
Yeah.
And then people still found something to argue about on Christmas. And I'm like, dude, really? Come on.
Oh, I love it. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Never ceases to amaze you.
You know, this week's my favorite week.
Because it's the busiest week.
It's the busiest week of the year.
It's awesome.
Absolute busiest week of the year to be in our line of industry.
It's fun, man.
Yeah.
Like just to kind of hear
Well, phones are ringing like crazy because people realize they're out of time.
Like all of a sudden, it's like, oh, well, last week, we got 2 weeks. Now they have 4 days.
They have 4 days. Like, I try to always tell people, like, you're out of tomorrows.
Right.
Like, you had a bunch of tomorrows, but now you have no tomorrows. Like, you are there.
Yep.
Yeah, so, if you guys are out there listening, it's probably pretty dang close to too late at this point because you'll have 3 days when you hear this.
Yeah.
And, the year-end stuff is really just crashing down on you. But if you need to get some money off the books, if tax guy's telling you, hey, you're going to either write a really big check to the IRS or you're going to buy some new equipment, you should buy ShopSabre. ShopSabre.com.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, but no, it's one thing that I was thinking about, over the weekend as we were sitting there, I don't know. I sit back and listen to a lot of the stories that you hear from your extended family, right? Because you don't always talk to your extended family a lot. Maybe some people do, but I don't. Like, I don't talk to them a ton. But like, you hear them complaining about their jobs and you hear them complaining about just life. Yeah. And like, I'm just not that guy. Like, I don't sit there and complain about a lot of stuff. Like, I feel like I can control a lot just by attitude.
For sure.
And so like, I always try to find the positives in every situation. But like, the one thing that I was thinking to myself was like, how many people complain about something, but yet they do nothing to change the situation?
Probably almost all of them.
You know what I'm saying?
Really.
And it made me think, like, you can't show up with 75% effort and expect 100% success.
Not even close.
And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So I think it's talking about your business and really next year, let's just talk about business in general. Like, what is your year going to look like next year? And it's, if you aren't putting the effort in today, last week, this month, whatever you want to say, to like prepare for next year, because I think a lot of people get in this like cruise control mode. Like, well, we'll worry about that next month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
like, you kind of put in cruise control. Like, it's the end of the year, it's holidays. I'll worry about it later.
Well, it's kind of like what we've been listening to with the sales guys for the last month. We'll get to it next week. Well, now it's been 2 more weeks on top of that week, and now you got 4 days left.
Yeah, and there's a lot of businesses that have been doing that. Yeah. Exactly. Well, we'll get to it. And now they're panicking and scrambling. And the thing is there was a statement that I've used a lot, and I'm sure people have heard it, but it's lack of planning on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on mine. Right?
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of truth to that because people will literally push you off. Right? Sales guys have been calling you, been bugging you, trying to get things figured out for you, and now they're scrambling. Oh, you got to get this done for me, man. You got to get this done before Friday. And it's like, the sad part is like, you're going to do everything you can, right?
Yep,
that's just, but you end up, did you hear that?
I did. It
that was weird.
Died and then came back.
Yeah, my headset turned off. That was really weird. Sorry for anybody listening. You probably heard nothing, but on our end, we had a little power outage issue there. But no, my point being is like, we'll work to try to get something done, try to help somebody. But it's like, this could have been so much easier if you would have just like put a little effort in earlier.
Well, and like listen to the sales guy instead of thinking he's just being a sales guy by saying we should work on this and make some more progress instead of just letting it be.
And the sad part is now sales guys are going to miss time with their family. Like it is what it is. Like they're going to work 20-hour days some days this week. I know they will. It's just when I was in sales, dude, there was days I remember. I'm just going back, but I remember because there was less sales guys back then. It was when I was in the sales department, it was at one point it was me, and I remember years where I would have a day where I didn't sleep. Like I would sleep 0 hours because I would literally work here till 9-10 o'clock at night. I'd go home just so I could get some dinner and stuff, and then I'd sit at my computer and continue to work. And it was doing quotes for people and doing, financing documents and all this stuff so that they'd have it in time for their CPA and stuff. And I would spend so much time doing that kind of work that literally I would see the sun come up and I'd be like, oh my God. Like, and I wouldn't realize what time it was, And I'd be like, oh my God, sun just came up. Like, I got to go to work, and I'd just quick, hammer out an energy drink and away I go. But the sad part, thankfully we aren't there anymore. Like we've got enough staff now where for the most part, people don't have to work that crazy. But I bet there's going to be, some of the sales guys, I bet they'll be putting in 16 plus hours.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And a day, not the week.
This week.
Yeah, a day for the record. And it's going to be largely not because of something they can control.
Right.
It is the effort that was put in on the other end. People who just didn't plan soon enough, weren't ready to go soon enough. thought they weren't going to do anything, didn't need to do something, and now realize like they made a mistake.
Right, and then that goes back to what you kind of started the topic off with. Now the sales guys are going to put in 110%.
Correct.
To try to make up for the people that were only at 75% going into the last month of the year.
Right. And I mean, we appreciate all the customers. Don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously, we love being busy. There's a lot of projects that have been working on all year long that are going to materialize this week just because it's the end of the year. But it's, we're not talking about the 90% of people we're working with this week.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of projects that have, like you said, they've been putting in 100% effort all year trying to get this thing done before the end of the year. And just a lot of the banks drag their feet until this week, and that's what I'm referring to is like when I talk about that 10% of people, there's 10% of people who just drug their feet and now make it somebody else's problem. But there's a lot of situations where banks, budgetary situations where they drag their feet on things.
Yep.
And the customer's waiting, the customer's like, I need to get this done. And then now it kind of falls on the customer or the sales guy to try to like push it over the finish line. And it's just those kind of things where I talk about 75% effort. You get a lot of people that, think that I'm doing enough, right? And I just think about the businesses that do that. And it's like, how many businesses would grow so much faster if they always put in the same effort as if it was the end of the year?
Right. Yeah. 12 months a year instead of 11.
Right.
Yeah.
Or 12 months a year instead of 1.
Yeah, that's what I meant. But yeah, I mean, obviously you can't just roll into next year with no planning, right? You got to put in a lot of planning that should have started a long time ago to have a successful 2024 compared to what your 2023 was, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. For me, there's a lot of effort that goes into being successful.
Absolutely.
It's not by chance. And I think a lot of people,
lucky. You're not successful by being lucky most of the time.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Is some people are, right?
Yeah.
Some people just get lucky, but the problem is those people tend to strike out then eventually.
It doesn't. You don't get lucky all the time.
Correct. We were talking about this today. Remember that there was a bettor this weekend.
Yeah.
He put, I think, what was it, $5? $5 he bet on a bunch of the football games. He ended up winning like $500,000, right?
Yeah, something like that. Just shy. Yeah.
Just shy of like 490,000 or something like that.
Yep.
Anyways, but we're talking about that. Like that's luck, pure luck. There's no skill involved in that at all. Like that was pure luck. And the problem is that a lot of times can breed, and hopefully it doesn't in this case, but breed negative results. Because a lot of times the person from success, right, misappropriates the success to effort.
For sure. Like, oh, that was easy. That was just a quick $5 thing. Pick a bunch. So now next week, let's try to do the same thing, but we'll up it to $1,000.
Yep.
And try to win $1 million. But then you start rolling.
Now you start chasing it, right?
Try to chase the victory.
And and sometimes they don't know the actual legal ramifications, so they don't realize that you won $490,000, but you owe $222,000 in taxes now.
And now you've rebet $350,000.
Correct.
And don't have enough to pay your tax.
Correct.
bill.
Now you end up kind of upside down, and you're chasing yourself. And the same can be said for business.
Yep.
There's a lot of businesses out there that I feel like, and employees too, they get lucky. And rather than working for it, that they try to ride that luck wave. Oh, it always works out, right? It always works out. How many times have you heard somebody say that in your life?
A lot.
Right? It always works out.
Maybe once in a while it will for you.
And it does, right?
Yep.
It's always going to work out. It just might not be the way you want.
Correct.
It always works out is a true statement because it will end up working out.
But does it work out in the best way that you want it to? Or
Right. We'll cheer for that one because exactly. Does it work out for the way you want it to be? The best way to assure it's going to finish the way you want it to be is preparation.
Correct.
And even that's not a guarantee.
No, but at least you're trying to plan for that success and plan your path to success, right? Instead of hoping it all just falls into place.
If I fail, I want to fail knowing that I tried.
Absolutely.
That's my thing. Like I never want to fail and look back like I could have done more.
And then you just have to be willing to learn from those failures to be successful the next time.
Correct. Yeah, I mean,
instead of just the next time throwing it out there and hoping, hopefully this one falls right for me.
Just keep throwing stuff at the wall.
Yeah, right.
Other weaknesses, we're slow learners, and we're not particularly good listeners.
Sums it all up.
Sums it all up, right? No, it's, you really have to learn from your mistakes. And I mean, again, I've made plenty of mistakes. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I make mistakes all the time. But I also believe it's okay to make mistakes, because if you're making mistakes, you're learning.
For sure.
And if you're making mistakes, you're trying things outside of your comfort zone a lot of times. Because let's be honest, if you're really good at something and you do the same thing over and over and over and over, you probably don't make a lot of mistakes at it.
Probably not.
You make mistakes when you're outside of your comfort zone. And it's okay to make those mistakes, especially in business, because if you don't make a mistake here or there, you're not going to grow.
And it's good to learn something doesn't work, right?
Right.
If you do something wrong and like, oh, well, we thought this would work, but it didn't work, so let's try to do it a different way. Or let's try a different way to do things and hope that the next time this mistake that we made teaches us something and we're better the next time.
Well, that's all you can hope for. You got to teach yourself a way of moving forward, right? And, growth also involves developing, who your identity is going to be, right? A lot of people don't really know their identity. There's a lot of employees you can go up to and ask them what their purpose is at that employment. And a lot of times they can't answer that question. They're going to tell you what their job is.
Right. And it's very kind of vague, or just kind of what they do on a day-to-day basis, right?
Correct. Yeah. My favorite is when you talk to employees, and it's not just here, I'm just talking about people in general. When you talk to people who work for an employer and they talk, this takes me back to another story in my life, and I won't refer to who I'm talking about, but there's a person in my life that works for somebody, they work for a company, and they were one time, they were talking about their pay and how they deserve to be paid more. And I just simply asked the simple question, why do you deserve to be paid more? And their answer was time. Well, I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, why do they have to pay you more? Because you've been there. Well, because I've been there this long. Again, why does that alone require them to pay you more?
Sure, you showed up every day and done your job every day
Yep.
for whatever, 10 years.
Yep.
But have you gone above and beyond and tried to be better and earn more?
Well, it's not even that. It's what is your value?
Yeah.
What is the value that you brought to them? Because here's the thing. You and the employer both agreed the day that you took the job that you were going to perform a set of duties, and they were going to compensate you for the work you were going to do. You didn't agree day one that you were going to show up, and just by showing up, they were going to pay you.
Yeah.
And I think people lose track of that, right? It's 75% of the effort is showing up, right?
Yeah.
The rest of it's the 100%, right? You got to do your job, right? Yeah. So I think it's funny when people think by just being there that you owe them. Yes, your time is worth money. This is true. But I'm not going to pay for your time if you're not doing something for it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's the same thing like when you hire somebody's, business to come do something for you, a landscaper, let's say, as an example. Can I do that work myself? Yeah, I can do it myself, but I pay them because of their skills, not their time.
Yep.
I'm paying them for their skills and their capabilities and what they bring to the table. Because otherwise, I can go do it myself too, and my time will then be considered free, right? Because it's my time.
Yep.
But is my time really free?
Not at all.
No, because I'm taking my skills away from what I could be doing elsewhere.
Yep.
So rather than that, I'll buy, your time, who you're, higher skilled in this area, and it saves me my time then, and therefore I can use my skills in an area where maybe I'm better utilized.
For sure. And you're going to end up with good landscaping and your job that you're
Well,
good at doing. You know what I mean?
I suck at landscaping.
Right. So, you're going to get good results on both ends while not just thinking you can do it yourself and calling it good.
And I think that's one of those things where you have to be willing to make improvements, right? And some of that is understanding where your worth is and what your time is. And that includes within your business when you start looking at producing products and you produce, a service or whatever you do at your work, like, how can I better utilize what I'm good at? Because that's what you should be focusing your time on. You should focus your time on the things you're good at. That is the best use of your time.
Absolutely.
And the things you're maybe not as good at, you come up with a system, right? Maybe it's you hire it out, or maybe you find a way to be more efficient at something that normally takes a lot more of your time because you're not as good at it.
Well, and I think, going back to an email and a testimonial that we posted today about a company that's, using one of our machines that said it was a lot easier for them on a learning curve to get our machine up and working properly. And so much so that their senior designers and stuff that have been doing work are adding more projects and more items to their catalog that they can make because they have a machine that can do that work for them. So they're obviously expanding their business, using their machine to expand that business. And in turn, they're going to become more profitable, right?
I like when you say profitable because that's really what businesses are in business for, right?
Right. And that kind of goes back to what you were just saying about showing up is part of the job. But these guys are using the machine to their advantage to add more products to their catalog, in turn making the company more profitable and showing their worth, right? And earning more worth to the company because they're going to be putting out more product that can make more money for them.
And that is how it's done.
True.
Business 101 right there.
There we go. We're done. No, but that's exactly where, like I said, it just got me thinking this weekend because we're talking about like efforts and, just people putting in the effort and the time to do what they need to do. And some of it just simply comes down to like finding the right tool as well. Like us, looking at CNC machines and, I've been fortunate enough. A lot of my friends and family have supported our business as well over the years. And so at these family get-togethers, I get to hear about things they've done with their machine. And otherwise I don't always hear from them, right? They're running their businesses, we're running ours, and you don't always cross paths, and it's just cool to see, like, even in the racing world, right? For me, I'm big into racing. Some of the people I know in the racing world that are using our product and seeing the success they have and what they do, whether they're using our product for their race program, which I have a few businesses that build race cars and they use our CNC plasma machines to help them. But I also look at the amount of people I've met through the racing that are cabinet makers or, they are sign makers. They do other stuff outside of racing, of course, racing being their hobby. And they utilize the equipment in those personal lives. And it's, it's cool to hear, like, you think about the effort that they put in their business, and it translates, a lot of times I see it, the guys who are these fast race car, drivers and successful on the track, they also are the ones who have invested in the tools that they need to be successful in business. And it kind of goes hand in hand. Like it kind of transfers into your personal life.
Absolutely.
Once you're putting effort in and you're, willing to put the extra time and energy into something, like it becomes a habit. And once it becomes a habit, it's easy because every day you just do it. Like in everything you do, you just like, I don't have to tell myself to give 100% when I do anything. It's just like ingrained in me at this point. It started with my dad, obviously, when I was younger, telling me that if we're going to do it, I'm going to do it right. And it's like, now it's just become like a habit where if I don't do it to my full ability, I feel lazy.
Correct. Well, I think that goes back to, like you're talking about, the people that can get caught in focusing on the negative things that are happening instead of taking yourself out of that and trying to put a positive spin on it or put it in go down the focusing the positive paths that you could go down.
Right.
That's where you got to focus on the positive, because what you bring into your life or into your business is what's going to happen, right? If you just focus on the negative, you're not going to succeed. Where you can make the choice to be positive about things, even if it's a negative situation, you can bring a positive from it and go down the right path and have a positive result.
Right. And that's exactly it. As we kind of get towards the new year, this week being the final week of 2023.
That's crazy.
Like, it's crazy. Yeah. And, you're going to have to think about it. Like, the next time we will be on this show will be 2024.
That's
right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It'll be January the 3rd when you hear the next episode.
It will be. And we still won't have any snow. Let's hope.
You don't think so?
No.
That's a week away. How do you predict that?
Because it's not going to be below like 35 degrees for the next 10 days.
It's crazy. But my point being is, like, we're already going to be in 2024 at that point. And now you're going to be looking at, like, okay, what are we doing this year? Because guess what?
It's time to start planning for 2025.
Right. The reality is sales, I think sales people tend to understand this better than anybody else in the world. It's once the month or the year starts over, you're back at zero.
Yep.
It doesn't count. What you did yesterday doesn't matter anymore. Because nobody cares about what you did in 2023. They're wondering what you're doing in 2024, 2025.
Yep.
And if you have no plan and you're going to be like, well, look how good we did in 2023, get out of the past. That's what people are going to tell you, right? That's cool. What are you doing this year?
Right.
Like, what's next year bringing? And as you start looking at your business, like that's how I look at this is like time has ticked out on 2023. Like we have 3 days left, right? At 3 days left in the year, it doesn't really matter what you did this year.
Not even a little bit.
Like you're on to next year.
I mean, you can focus on the positives that you had going out of 2023 into 2024.
You build
but
on
you still need to have a plan going forward to make it even better than the previous.
Well, you just okay, let's take a step back. Maybe you don't care. There's people out there like, I don't care if I get better in 2023 or 2024. I'm just going to do what I did again. Do you think putting the same effort that you put in 2023 gets you the same results in 2024?
I mean, it might get you close to the same, but do you want to just be the same as you were? Don't you want to improve? Don't you want to get better?
See, I don't think it will, though. That's my point. Is I don't think you could, if you do the exact same thing you did this year, next year, I don't think you'll get the same results. And the reason I don't think you will is because you're making the assumption that everybody else is doing the same.
And then all the things that fell into place for you in 2023
Correct.
are going to happen again.
Well, fantasy football is a good way to put this, okay? My team scored 60 points this week. 60.
You were in the playoffs. I wasn't.
Yes.
So there's that.
I was in the playoffs, and I scored 60 points. But my point being is I did all the same things this week as I did last week.
Yep.
I scored 160 points last week. I was the highest scoring team in the division last week. I was the lowest scoring team in the division this week. But I did all the same things this week.
And you know what's going to happen if you do the same thing next week? You might get lucky
Correct.
and win next week, unlike this week. So, yeah.
My point being is like you can do the same thing, but you're not guaranteed the same results.
No, you might just have a few of those things that fall into place here and there.
Correct.
But you're definitely not going to get the same.
And that's my point is that you might get lucky. And 2024 might be bigger than 2023 by simply doing the same thing. But eventually it doesn't. Like you're taking that risk. It goes back to that bettor. That bettor probably has put $5 on that kind of a bet. How many times?
Yeah.
Maybe that bettor spent 20 grand in his life trying to hit that.
Could
right?
Be. Yeah.
Still profitable. Don't get me wrong. He made money still
Yep.
for now. But my point being is that when you start looking at your business, you're betting on it. You're betting on your business. You're investing in yourself. And the question is, are you going to give yourself the tools, the capabilities to exceed what you were doing last year? Are you going to give your employees? If you've hired anybody, you bet on them.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
If you hire somebody, you have made a bet with your financials, with your business, that this person is going to make me more than they cost me. Otherwise, you probably don't hire them.
Right.
I don't know of a single business out there when they're like, I'm going to hire this guy knowing that he's going to cost me money.
Not a very good business plan.
Right?
Right.
Unless you're looking for a tax write-off somehow. I don't see how that's a good investment. And so my point being is if you hired people in your business, but then you're unwilling to listen to the people in your business, you've trusted them. You told them to come work for you for a reason. Yep. What was that reason? Why do you go work for a company? Let me ask you that. If you're an employee, why did you choose the company you went to work for? Right?
I feel like there's you get a lot of different answers though. I mean,
correct.
Some people are going to say for the money, don't really care about the job. I mean, not necessarily don't care about the job, but I
don't think there's many people that will say that though. Because especially when you look at the world, there's a lot of places that are hiring. Yeah. The money a lot of times, unless you're making top 10%, right? There's other jobs out there.
Sure.
Right? But does the money alone, is that why you took your job that you're at right now? There had to have been something that drew you to it first before you found the money.
The ad that you ran in the paper?
Correct. But there's something that drew you there, right?
The word. I mean,
rarely is the ad like, make X amount of money today, right? I mean, like,
right.
To be honest, I don't know that there's a lot of that. It's like they try to draw you into the company, right? There's something about the company that drew you in. Whether it was leadership, it was the culture, it was the product, it was something you enjoyed. There was something that got you to look at this position that you're in.
But aren't there a lot of those things that you don't really know about going into it? I mean, you
Correct.
don't know anything about the culture. I mean, perfect example is when I came and interviewed here.
Yep.
I didn't know anything about the culture here.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't know anything about how much I was going to make here. Like I knew you.
Yeah.
Like I knew you, and I was like, hey, I feel like it would be a good person to work for.
That's cool.
I didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't say, hey, I've never heard. I obviously had heard of the company through you and seen stuff from you, but like that's all I knew about is that you worked here. You were looking for somebody, and that was kind of it. And then came and interviewed. It's like it was a good, obviously a good interview. Kind of whatever. Curtis seemed like a decent enough guy.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's like, okay, well then,
Man, did he fool you?
right?
Curtis.
Lesson learned on that one.
Lesson learned.
Never judge a book by its cover.
Gotcha, Curtis.
But in all seriousness, though, like a lot of those things somebody doesn't know besides,
Correct.
Applying for the job, and then you come in and
Exactly.
do people walk away from that after an interview saying, that's not a place I want to work for
I bet.
because of who they talk to?
I bet there's, people that turn jobs down after they've interviewed, because it's not a right fit for them. I know that I personally can think of times in my life when I interviewed at a place and thought to myself when I was younger, I can't see myself working at this place. Like openly thinking to myself, like, this is not a job I would take.
And it's kind of crazy to think that, because don't you think that somebody doing an interview would want to sell their company to you just like you're trying to?
See, I don't think
just
a lot
like
of
the
people do.
employees trying to sell themselves to the people hiring them. Obviously, when you go on an interview, you want to you're selling yourself as a good employee, right?
Correct.
Somebody that they want to hire. Why wouldn't the company do the same thing?
I think there's a lot of companies out there that, again, have the arrogance. You need me more than I need you.
That's fair.
I think that's why a lot of companies do have high turnover and do have, I think that's why it exists, because of the way they treat an employee, right?
Yeah.
That we can do it without you kind of a thing. And the reality is it's a double-edged sword. You both need each other,
sure.
like at the end of the day. But what my point here is like, as you look at next year, like what are you doing? You hired these employees. You put 75% effort in right away by hiring them.
Yep.
You got to give 100% effort. So you got to give them the tools they need to be successful. That'd be like hiring, when I brought on, the video team that we brought on, but not giving them a camera.
Yeah.
Like, cool, the guy's got the skills, but use your iPhone.
And then complaining about the job that they did with the
Right.
resources they were
Or
given.
not, will they produce good quality videos using their iPhone?
No. Well, I mean,
Yes.
good quality.
Yes, I
to a
think they
certain
will.
extent, sure.
I think they would produce good quality videos. But is it the best product that they could put out?
Not at all. Not
No.
75% of what
75%, right? And it goes back again, like you have to look at it from that standpoint. Like you can hire the greatest talent in the world, but if you don't give them the tools.
Yep.
So as a business owner, what I'm basically saying to you is if you have really good talent around you, you have business, but you're being cheap and you won't go buy a CNC machine or you won't go buy a piece of equipment or that tool they need for the shop, you are holding them back in 2024.
Correct.
It's going to be your fault when one of them quits because they're going to find a shop that was willing to buy them the tools they want.
Correct. And you'll have no room to complain.
They're
going to
become a competitor.
For sure.
And that's one thing I always remind people is like, you're only one decision away from having your competitors pass you. And if you choose to be cheap and you don't let your visions drive, right? How did you get to where you are today? A lot of times it wasn't luck.
Right.
You had a vision. You saw something. You went after it. But now that you got there, it became a lifestyle business. Oh, this is just what we do. This is how we do it every day. But does it really make you successful anymore? No, because you've lost that passion.
Yep.
The passion is what got you there. The 100% all the time is what gets you there. Now you've scaled her back to 75%. And you're like, yeah, well, I'm still doing 75.
Right. Like,
Well, guess what? Everybody else is doing 100. So it's at 75. You're 25% behind every single day.
Which means 4 years from now, you're going to be
100%
behind them.
Correct.
At least.
And that's where it goes back to. You can't show up with 75% effort and expect 100% results every day. You can have days where you give 75%. Heck, you can have weeks where you've given 75%.
Yep.
But you can't make a career out of 75%.
Absolutely not. You're going to be a failure real fast.
Well, I just think your business is going to stay flat. And you might not fail.
Yeah, but I mean, even staying flat, though, when you have competition that's going up, you're not really staying flat. You're still going down.
Yeah, because the world, well, you got to remember, the pie is so big, and everybody's taking slices out of that pie. And if you're staying flat, and their pieces are getting bigger, eventually you're losing pie.
Yeah.
Right? The pie is not getting bigger. If you're staying flat, I'm not going to request more than 12%. Right?
Yeah.
But suddenly your competitors around you have started to eat the pie around you.
I mean, if it's something like
want
pumpkin
pie.
pie or cherry pie, I'll go with 4% and call it good. But
I want pie now.
if it's good Dutch apple pie,
Dutch apple
I'm going to
pie.
give
That's a very
160. I'm
specific.
going to give 160%.
That's a very
Take
specific
that
pie.
whole pie.
That was a very specific pie. Dutch apple pie.
Just sounded better than saying apple pie.
I think when you look at I think when you look at effort, we use this a lot in hockey. I say it to the team. Actually, me and the other coaches say it a lot. We say to the team, we always say, there's two things in this world that you can control, boys. And then we always say, it's attitude and effort. Those are the two things that you can control. And if you come to work every day with the right attitude, hey, we're going to do something today great, right? And then you give the effort, generally you're going to have good results.
Typically, that is correct. I mean, those two things being positive. I mean, what else do you really need to have a successful day? Really, I mean, effort and attitude is going to make you through your day. It's more than anything else, right?
I agree, because we're all going to run into things every single day that are difficult. And if the attitude says, we'll get through it, we're going to be good. Let's move on to the next thing. Let's get it done.
Yep.
And I'm going to give 100% effort to get through it. Like, you'll get through it.
Absolutely.
So that's really where it comes down to. I mean, that's really what I had today is we're kind of finishing the year out, and I want people to think about that. Like, your attitude and your effort as you push towards 2024. What kind of an attitude are you bringing into the new year? What kind of effort are you going to put into in your new year?
110% on everything.
110%. I like it. Full throttle.
Absolutely.
Full throttle on everything.
Never
Like, that's
stop.
what I always said. Like, I never back down from a situation.
No.
It might not always be the best situation. I may have to deal with some uncomfortable things. I may have to go through things that you don't want to, but I'm going to go through everything with 110%.
Absolutely. Keep yourself ahead of the line, right?
Because
Stay in the front.
they always say, right? Tough times don't last. Tough people do.
Correct.
And that's where you have to be tough next year. Like, you're just going to have to tackle the projects you haven't been tackling. Go after the work that maybe you haven't gone after. Man, that's too hard to do that. Like, just do it.
Like we said, get uncomfortable. Take on those uncomfortable challenges.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause you're gonna
Become
come out
comfortable
better.
in uncomfortable situations.
Absolutely.
And that is something that we will talk about next week. That's going to be next week's episode as we kick off the new year, is we're going to talk a little bit about becoming comfortable in uncomfortable situations. And we're going to talk about the new year. What are you going to start working on? Where are you going with your business? What are you going to do to make yourself better in 2024? Because it's going to be here by the next episode.
It is going to be here in 5 days.
5 days. It's a big
I
rocket.
guess 6. That is a big rocket. Wow.
Just got a picture sent to me on my phone of a giant
It's very random.
spaceship. I don't know why that got sent to me, but that is a very big rocket.
It's really funny.
One of my friends must be telling me they're going somewhere. Good luck. Reach for the sky. Right?
Wanted to reach very far on that thing.
Jeez, that thing
Good
was
Lord.
huge. Looked like the Space Center.
Did.
Oh, you know what? I bet my friend's in Florida right now. He was taking his kids to Disney for...
I bet it's not much warmer in Florida than it
I
is
don't think
here.
it is. They were all in sweatshirts, it looked like. He's taking his kids to Disney for the new year.
Good luck to
I bet they left this morning. And that's what he was showing me is that they're there.
Oh, they're there waiting for the rocket
Yeah.
to take off.
I bet.
That would be sweet to see, though.
I saw one time when I was a kid.
Pretty awesome.
I don't remember
Don't
it that
remember
much.
A long time ago.
It was I remember being there. I'm sure it was cool. I remember being there. I remember my dad bringing us there. I remember watching the rocket. What rocket it was, I couldn't tell you. But I remember watching it, and it was like, we were a little ways away from, obviously. You don't get to stand on the launch pad, just for the record. Like, you're a ways away. But it was pretty cool. I mean, I remember watching the rocket go off, but I'm sure I said something to the lines of, well, that was cool. Can we go get cheeseburgers? Like, I'm sure it was like in and out memory, like one of those things where like, okay, cool, it's over. Let's go.
Did you get a cheeseburger at In-N-Out? Because
Dude, I love In-N-Out
I
burger.
mean, you just said cheeseburger and then followed up with In-N-Out, and I'm like, oh,
I
man.
love In-N-Out burgers.
Good Lord. Sounds so good.
God, you're making me sad. I usually go to, like I said, Arizona this next week. And I'm usually gone for a couple weeks racing. And I'm not going this year. And normally the first stop I make when I get to Arizona is In-N-Out burger.
Yep.
I go get me an In-N-Out burger. And then I unload the race trailer.
That's the first thing I do every time I get to Vegas.
Oh, now I want to go
Over
there.
to In-N-Out. Vegas? Let's go.
No, not
Oh,
Vegas.
you don't like Vegas.
I want to go to In-N-Out burger. I don't care about Vegas. I want to go to In-N-Out burger. Dang it. This is on you.
Sorry.
Attitude and everything. Attitude. Okay, good attitude.
Good attitude.
I'm going to get me an In-N-Out
See, don't
burger.
blame me for this.
Effort.
Let's
What are you
just-
going to do to go get me an In-N-Out burger?
I'm going to fly to Vegas and I'll bring some back.
Wait a second here.
See you Sunday.
This is backfiring on me really quickly. Oh, man. No, like I said, hopefully, again, kind of rambling off. We're kind of at the end here, but hopefully today you guys learned something. You thought something. I opened up your eyes a little bit to maybe next year Maybe you think I'm an idiot and you just enjoy listening to me be an idiot. That's cool too. I'm okay with that. But I hope that if nothing else, you guys had a really good 2023. I appreciate everybody who listened to this. I appreciate everybody who joins us every week, continues to tune in and provides feedback online, sends us emails. I love it. I love hearing from everybody. Nick, I'm sure you love it as well.
Always.
But
it's great.
Next year it's going to get better. We're going to keep going, right? We're starting to find our way here as the two-man group here. But we're always looking for feedback. We want to know what you guys want to hear about next year. We want to know what topics you guys want us to talk about. We're going to have some special guests on next year, too. We're going to hope to do some more guest appearances. So who do you want us to interview? Who do you want us to talk with? What's on your mind? Like I said,
don't say Trader Travis. We don't want them back.
No, we don't want them back. They can go away. No, just kidding. They'll probably be back on, actually. We're going to have them back on after the new year. But yeah, like I said, we'll kind of do a recap probably with them towards the beginning part of next year, just to see how the end of the year finished out and kind of the excitement that they've seen within the businesses and the companies that are upgrading. So
that'll be good. Kick off next year with episode 134.
134 episodes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I like it. Is that what we're on right now? No, we're on 133.
This is 133 today, so yeah.
133. I like it. No, that's cool. Like I said, it's crazy to think. 133 episodes ago, we got this crazy idea, like, let's do a podcast.
And your
Here we
brother
are.
was probably like, a what?
Oh, yeah. First person that asked me to do a podcast, he's like, it was Jesse. He's like, hey, we should do a podcast. I was like, what's a podcast? I don't even know what a podcast was. I didn't listen to him. I didn't nothing. He's like, what? I'm like, I've never listened to a podcast in my life. Here we are, 133 episodes later.
That's crazy. It's always fun.
I'm having a good time.
Just a bunch of nonsense, a little business.
Yeah, me and my buddies are thinking about starting another podcast separately from work about hockey. We're all coaches, and we're going to talk about coaches and coaches' challenges and the things that go into life as a hockey dad. So,
2 goons, 1 puck.
2 goons, 1 puck. No, no. We're not going to go with that one. Maybe puckheads, right?
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
You thought about that one, didn't you? You didn't just come
about
up with that one.
Thought about that one. No, like I said, we're thinking about doing that here next year, but
That'd be
completely
kinda fun,
unrelated to this. So. Yeah, something fun to do in the
Just hang out with the guys.
few
and
spare moments I have.
shoot the breeze and whatever.
Spend every other second at the hockey rink. Why not a few more?
Might as well.
But you know what? We better get back at it because we got 3 days remaining now.
Lots to do. A couple hundred more machines to sell.
Let's go do it.
Let's go.
Let's go. Well, with that, I'm Brandon.
I'm Nick.
Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre.